Welcome to the Indian Community Podcast, where we spotlight the journeys of visionary entrepreneurs. Today, we are joined by Ronit Jain, the driving force behind Selvel Global and MAE, from transforming a traditional family business into an e-commerce success to launching MAE, a pioneer in sustainable products made from Agri-Residue. Ronit's story is one of ambition, innovation, and a deep commitment to sustainability. As we dive into his entrepreneurial path, the creation of MAE, and his educational pursuits, prepare to be inspired by a tale of resilience, environmental stewardship, and the pursuit of excellence in the world of business. Hey Ronit, welcome to the Indian Community Podcast.
Hi, Amit. So nice to be here. Thank you for having me in your show. Yeah.
Welcome to the Indian community, Ronit.
Thank you, Rahul.
Welcome.
It feels amazing to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
It's our pleasure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Rahul, one thing I'm really excited about is today's Valentine's Day. And we have young blood on the show, Ronit Jain. So he ticks all the boxes. So it's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, of course.
So Ronit, I'll get started.
Yeah.
Ronit, I noticed you come from a business family with a very successful business legacy, but you wanted to go ahead and start something of your own.
Right.
And your ventures, Selvel Global and MAE,
Mhm.
both of these have done phenomenally well. So can you share some key moments that inspired you and helped you shape up your entrepreneurial journey?
So I always wanted to be an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. And yeah, I have different plans for my business. My father and they're pretty happy with where the business is right now. But I was always hungry for more. And I always envisioned a different kind of a brand or a different kind of a business. I wasn't just happy with what we have right now. And I see a lot more potential, so many things yet to be explored and yet to be, so many territories yet to chart. Yeah.
Okay. You remind me of that life means more tagline. I don't know if you will remember, it was in the late 90s. There used to be a brand campaign called Life Means More.
Okay.
So your statement just reminded me of that one.
Yeah,
Actually, growing up in a business family, generally kids look up to their fathers doing business all day and night. Unlike my dad was a service person. So your father is into business. So automatically it comes. So you are saying that you were motivated more. You wanted more out of there, right? So is there
Right.
any factor? Is there anything that motivated you more? Big cars with other people, even bigger cars, even bigger houses. So something of that sort, or there was something else.
Yeah, definitely. That could be one aspect. And I just have some really big goals and ambitions. Let's say I want to be in the Fortune 500, right? So my
Oh,
father and my
wow.
uncle in the family business, they never thought like that. They were happy with the business. And of course, it provides for the family. Everything is great. But I just wasn't satisfied with that. So
Okay.
always saw myself as a top entrepreneur, and that is what I want to do with my life.
That's great. That's great. Great to hear that.
So, Ronit, when you broke this news to your family saying, hey, you're doing well, there's a family business, good for you. I want to go and do something of my own. What was the reaction of the family?
Initially, I was met with a lot of doubts, but they were also very supportive. I also have to say that I'm really lucky and fortunate to be born in such a nice family, and my parents are really supportive. So I'm really grateful for that. And yes, they do have their initial doubts, which is fine. I can understand. First time someone is jumping straight into the business. So, of course, those doubts are going to be there. But keeping everything in mind, they've been very supportive. And yeah, just fortunate to be born in this family.
Great. Ronit, starting Selvel Global without any prior business experience would have been very challenging, I assume. So how do you
Yeah.
navigate the obstacles and setbacks in the early days when you started?
Right.
One could be from your family, support from your
Right.
family. They have. What
Yes.
other things did you do?
So I started this way back in 2017.
Mhm.
And e-commerce in India was still shaping up. It was still very new. Of course, you had Flipkart, you had Myntra, you had Amazon. Everyone had set foot in India. But for homegrown brands, like people were still figuring out how to do the whole e-commerce bit. And so even for us, it was a process of learning. And even with the first hiring, right? I didn't really know which role to exactly hire for or what exactly to do, right? So we started with e-commerce marketplaces.
So
It
can you tell us
was
something about the name Selvel? How did this name come into picture? Who found this? Who coined this name? Selvel.
right. So it's my family brand, the homewares business
Okay,
that
it's
we
your
are
family
running.
brand. Okay,
It's my
okay,
family brand. And my father's tutor actually came up with this name. And he lives in the States. He lives in New Jersey.
okay.
His name is Satyajit Mukherjee, and he suggested us this name. Yeah.
All right.
He's a very creative person. He's a Bengali, so naturally he has this
Okay. And when
creative.
was this coined?
In 1992. Yeah.
You guys were into some hoardings and all earlier?
Oh no, that's another business that's not
Okay.
related to us.
Okay. Okay, that's not related to you because
Yeah.
I remember. Sorry that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great to hear. That's great to hear coin because I'm from branding. So the name sell well. It's very nicely in your ears. It's selling something well, sell well. Very rare
Right.
people come up with such names. So I was very curious about it.
Great. Yeah, it is.
So, Ronit, what got you onto MAE? So, what's the story behind MAE? I think
Right.
that's the brand that you're very close to today.
Right.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about MAE? And am I pronouncing it correct, or did you intend to pronounce it different?
So it's pronounced as May, as in the month of May, because I'm born in May,
Oh,
Oh,
and it also aligned
oh,
with what I'm doing. Just
cool.
flipped the Y with E, and that's how the brand name came to life.
May.
And so just before COVID, I was at an expo, and I just bumped into a stall which spoke about bio composites and the wonders of biopolymers. It was an emerging technology back then,
Mhm.
and it was a no-brainer for me. I wanted to do this for the rest of my life, commit to a greener world, and that's what the motivation for was.
so in fact, the reason I thought this is MAE, and I am happy to hear that it is May. But the reason I actually interpreted this as MAE because it is all about sustainability and your concern for, let's say, planet Earth or Mother Earth. And I interpreted MAE came in the sense in that sense.
Right.
So it's good to know that it's May, and I'm assuming you're a Taurian.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. Same as
That is
I'm also a
I
Taurian.
mean that's a part of my personality. I'm very stubborn with what goals I have. So that's a part of my personality. And I think it's required to a certain extent to have that determination that you have to do it no matter what.
Definitely. The determination is a big part.
Right.
So when it comes to May, you're transforming waste into valuable products, right? It's garbage and cold out, if I may say. So what is that new technology or processes that you've incorporated to be able to achieve this?
So the manufacturing process remains the same, but of course we had to tweak our manufacturing process a bit to have these biocomposites and biopolymers be compatible with the set of machinery that we already have. So there was a lot of R&D in terms of what kind of materials are suitable for a machine and how we need to tweak the processes. So traditional polymers, they're made for the existing machines, right? So there's
Mhm.
not really a process that you have to do before having the materials in the machine. But with biocomposites and biopolymers, you have to preheat the materials at a certain temperature and you need to give it a certain cooling time. And you only come to know that after you do a set of trials. And it's a lengthy process figuring out that optimum temperature where the material needs to be heated at, and because it's finally molded into a product, so it needs to be very compatible with the machinery.
So, Ronit, I have a question here. It's a technical question. It just came to
Right.
my mind. It is different, the materials, the heating time and the cooling time. Is it
Mhm.
different for different batches of polymers or is it the same for, you know?
So for synthetic polymers, it's not really a challenge, but for these biomaterials, the biocomposites, it
Mhm.
varies depending on what kind of a material that is, because every material is different. In some materials, for the binding part, they use cornstarch. For other materials, there are different kinds of binders. So ultimately it varies for different kinds of materials. And
Ronit,
once you
for our audiences, before listening to what you are saying, they would like to know what are biocomposites. It's not easy for a layman to understand what a biocomposite. So if you could put
right.
some light on that.
So biocomposite is a kind of a polymer which is made from like biomaterials, right? But basically organic source of materials. For
Mm-hmm.
example,
Mm-hmm.
agri waste, right? Like the
Okay.
agri-residue that remains after the whole agricultural process is done.
Like what we call
Like rice husk or bamboo waste, coffee waste, basically any kind of agri waste can be
okay.
used to create a biopolymer.
Okay.
So does that mean all that agricultural waste, which is sometimes burnt in some parts of the country,
Right.
can be converted into this
Exactly.
biocomposite and be converted into products?
Right. That's
Is that
exactly
possible?
what our mission is, to prevent stubble
Okay.
burning and also give a new life to this material that would have otherwise been wasted and it would
Mm-hmm.
have caused severe pollution and environmental damage. So we're trying to prevent that and we're giving value to waste. That's what we're trying to do.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's ironic today. I think this morning Rahul was complaining about smog and some higher level of pollution. So
Yes.
I'm hopeful that with the processes and the innovation that you're bringing to the industry, that larger problem can be solved. It's not just we getting beautiful products, but also helping reduce the pollution is going to be phenomenal. I think that's an incredible mission to have.
And we're
Right.
also trying to replace traditional polymers, which
Mhm.
is your polypropylene or polycarbonate, which are usually fossil fuel based, right? So that
Okay.
causes a lot of pollution. And we're just trying to replace that as of now with biocomposites, biopolymers. And the plan is to ultimately have a green powered manufacturing unit. That's the vision.
Okay. Do you run on biofuel or how do you have industry runs that?
Not yet,
Or-
not yet. But definitely, we plan to make it a
Because
green.
now Modi ji has announced a lot of this solar power yojnas. So
Right.
maybe you can benefit somewhere from there also.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, Ronit, I believe right now your focus is heavily on the tableware segment, right?
Mhm.
So, you've got cups and mugs that you're producing under the brand name MAE. So, do you also have plans to expand into other categories, into more lifestyle categories?
Yes, we do have plans of expanding into other categories as well. But the plan is to first set the base really strong in the tableware segment, which is a strong suit, right? And then
Mhm.
gradually move on to other product categories like clothing, for example, right? Or
Okay.
it could be something as simple as the shoes you experimenting with
Oh,
vegan leather, plant-based materials, right? So
Okay.
we plan to bring a range of products under the brand name May, all lifestyle products, right? And
Okay.
all
Okay.
inspired
yeah.
by material science and exploring different materials that nature has to offer. So some of the materials that
Okay.
we're currently working with are, like I mentioned, we're already working with bamboo fiber, coffee waste, rice husk, and soon we also plan to add other materials in our catalog. For example, hemp fiber, or something like banana crop waste. These are the kinds of materials we are trying to bring forward. The idea is to show the world that nature has so much to offer. It ultimately depends on how we can optimize it and how best we can use it and eliminate all sort of dependency on man-made materials which are causing a lot of pollution and environmental damage. So that's the plan, showing the world nature has a lot to offer. And if we can really figure out a way of optimizing it and utilizing these materials in the best way possible, then we
Mhm.
can cut down a lot of environmental damage to a great extent.
Okay. A question is coming to my mind. Actually, when I started my career, my very first project was with a company who were into vegetable dyes,
Mhm.
right? So they are here only in Ghaziabad, manufacturer of apparel manufacturer. Not actually apparel, they're cloth manufacturers. And they
Mhm.
used to have a vegetable dye section also, in which they
Got it.
used. But what I remember is that those products, although they were mostly exported at that time. But once you wash them and put them in the sun, it fades very fast. So
Mhm.
it's coming to my mind right now. Is there something similar like with your products also?
So our products
Yeah.
are very durable, and we also have 100% biodegradable products in our product category. Right? But they
Okay.
would only decompose under certain conditions, under anaerobic conditions. It would require the right amount of heat, chemical reaction to happen. So ideally, it would take about 180 days to decompose once you put it under soil.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's pretty durable. You can use it for more than 2 years, more than 4 years, until the natural degradation process starts to happen.
And can you produce them in any colors?
So yeah, we are still experimenting with colors. And
Okay.
right now that is a limitation to a certain extent, but we are
Hmm.
trying to solve that as well with organic
But
colors. And
oh, but you said that the colors don't fade and they
yeah,
remain as it is.
the colors don't fade, and the products, because of the materials, they're microwave
Hmm.
safe, they're food safe, they're,
Oh, that's great.
they're
That's
dishwasher
very
safe as well. So we are also
cool.
bringing durability to the customers. So these are not like your
Hmm.
single use disposable products, because I feel there's a lot
Right.
of wastage of energy and resources to create something that would be disposed of in just one single use. Be it
And it produces a
anything.
lot of garbage also.
Yes, it produces a lot of garbage. And ideally, you would want something that you can reuse over and over again for a very long time. So
Right.
that's the idea of making products which
Yes.
are durable and yet
Hmm.
are light on the planet. So that's what the idea is.
That's great. That's great.
This is a pretty interesting problem statement, right? It has to be durable. It has to have a shorter carbon footprint, if I may say,
Right.
and also be great in terms of quality and styling. And so there's a lot that goes into building a product. And I think, Ronit, the way you're approaching May is commendable. And
Thank
I
you.
was very interested in your statement because you mentioned the term vegan leather. And I'm also an aspiring vegan. I try and stay away from animal or dairy products as best as I can. And most of my wardrobe has now switched to sustainable clothing, or it is vegan, be it my wallet or the
Right.
belt or the shoes, everything is in that category now. So I was very curious about what is your process when you think, because
Mhm.
the sky's the limit. You could do pretty much jump into any category that you want to.
Right.
How would you qualify a particular category as one is there is market fitment,
Mhm.
and then there's also a market potential, right?
Right.
So what would your process be as the CEO of the brand or as the product manager? How do you go about thinking, okay, that's the next category that I want to chase?
Mhm. I've always had this thought that we need to make sustainability desirable for people to adopt sustainable products and for people to really understand what this is all about. Because only if a
Mhm.
product is great in terms of design, in terms of the utility that it provides, only then will it work. It doesn't matter if it's a sustainable product or not. So we need to ensure that at the core, the product is superb, that people really love the product. And like I said, we want to make sustainability desirable. So even in terms of kind of the design language that we bring in our products and that we bring forward to people, we want to keep it very aesthetic, very luxurious, to give them that feel of luxury and yet be very eco-friendly and environment friendly. And in terms of the product, other product categories that we're venturing into soon, yeah, that's what the whole idea is.
So how are you going to shortlist your categories? Saying because you could do clothes, t-shirts, belts, shoes.
Right.
There's so many categories that you
Right.
could
So
produce.
it's
So how
important.
are you going to shortlist?
It's very important to be hyper focused whenever we're venturing into any new product category, or even with our
Right.
tableware range, for instance, which is just launching soon in maybe in a month or so, right? So we are really hyper focused with the kind of products we want to bring out, because it's better to focus all your energies on a few things rather than doing everything all at once. So even if we go into other product categories, the idea is to keep the number of SKUs very limited And that also helped with giving consumers less choices. So the decision making becomes much easier, right? If I'm shown 100 different colors, or versus if I'm shown just 3 colors that are available to me. So that would definitely make my decision making process much easier. That's how I view this
Mhm.
as. And in my opinion, great companies have always been hyper focused. If you look at Apple, their top selling product is a mobile phone, and you can see how that approach is fit inside the culture, how they work.
This is
Absolutely. I cannot deny that there are many instances when I go out to buy certain products and I walk into a store. And this was when I had to pick up headphones for myself, right? And I went into a store and they had about 40 different options in front of me. And it was very difficult for me to pick and choose which one should I go for because they all looked so similar and even their price range was not very
Right.
dramatically different. So it makes it's a decision paralysis which we call it in the industry, which creeps in at that point. That is it definitely a good strategy to focus on
Yeah.
a limited set of SKUs so you're able to do justice in terms of quality
Mhm.
and availability as well, right? Because
Right.
you're not going to have pink cup
No.
available all the time, right?
So,
Finding that
yeah,
specific pink is going to be
and
difficult.
it also
yeah,
more valuable. Something that
yeah.
is not so easily available is considered desirable, right?
Also
Becomes
talking about the money angle, like companies who are in, there are companies where big investors invest. So they have a lot of money to experiment on every small little thing and they have big targets to meet. Vis-a-vis, you are a bootstrap one. So you are the
right,
master of your own things. You
right.
know what to do. You can go wherever you want to go. So that is also one of the things I hope, which is actually in your favor,
Mhm.
right? But being a completely bootstrap venture, what challenges have you faced? And are there any strategies for seeking connections, fundraising?
So definitely, we are seeking fundraising. We are seeking all kinds of connections that would help us widen our reach in terms of our visibility and the markets and the countries that we are present in. And fundraising is something that we're actively seeking right now. And yeah. So we started Selvel Global in the year 2019. And we established the company in the year 2019. We started our e-commerce operations in that very year. And luckily, we've got to a stage wherein we can now really experiment a lot with this brand May because we're completely bootstrapped. So that has given us a cushion to experiment and keep building on this new brand that we're working on.
Cool. Great. Excellent.
I noticed you've got a background in management studies. You've also done packaging design, and now you're currently pursuing a course in private equity. So these are all a wide range of different, let's say, industry specializations, if I may call it.
Right.
And you're building a brand, you're building an e-commerce brand, and you're also building a sustainable brand. So these are all a wide variety of different subjects that you are pursuing. So how is all of this shaping you become an entrepreneur? How is all of this contributing?
It helps me make better decisions, and it really expands my awareness about different subjects and different topics. So all of these courses or all of these things that I'm learning, they're definitely helping me in my business. It's making me more aware about what's out there
Mhm.
and what are the kind of things that we need to have in our business in this really competitive world, right? So I think it's really important to upskill oneself. It's really important to constantly learn, and one should never stop learning. That's what I really,
Right.
really believe.
That's correct.
Yeah. And
That is interesting. So you're constantly learning and you're constantly bringing those learnings back into the organization. So that is very important. A lot of people that we've spoken to or successful entrepreneurs have shown a similar trait where they're not just learning on the go, but they're also bringing those learnings back into the passion, which is the organization that they're running.
yeah, it's very important to have those changes in your organization. And there was this quote that I'm really inspired from. It says that if you keep doing the same things, you will keep getting the same results. So at times you really need to shake up things and you really need
Absolutely.
to try and experiment until you find what's working for you, and keep experimenting
Mhm.
even after then, because that is what is life, and you need to make life meaningful. You need to add meaning to life.
Correct, correct. That's there. Now, Ronit, talking about your some personal interests, I have heard that you're a football fan and also have interests in history and mythology.
Right.
So, how do these passions influence your creativity and work-life balance?
I was always a very curious kid growing up, and that
Mhm.
curiosity is still very much in me. So I'm always looking for answers. I'm always looking for things like that. And that also helps me in
Mhm.
my business journey, because it keeps the drive and it keeps hunger on.
So would you like to say something about it? Any instance of curiosity? What is it? Very private.
No, it's not private. But yeah, I'm I'm a very spiritual person, and I meditate, and it's become a part of my routine now. And
That's great.
it,
That's
it
great to
gives me
hear.
a lot of clarity in terms of decision making, in terms of navigating through different challenges
Mhm.
that any business has. So it gives you that clarity, it gives you that focus, and it helps you go really granular into whatever you do. And ultimately, it's this small things that make up the larger picture. So it's really important
Yeah.
to give a lot of attention to detail, to tweak your processes to be as efficient as possible. And all of this really helps me.
Great.
This is one thing that I've noticed with not just with Ronit, but a lot of our other guests as well, right?
Right.
If you look at Ronit, his education and his current education, his past education, and all of his interests, they're across a wide range of different topics. So, this I think is helping him build skills across multiple life topics. And
Mhm.
I think that's boosting his creativity and confidence, which is where it is.
And spiritually, yeah, spirituality is our Indian, it's there in our Indian culture. So I
Right.
would say that whatever you said just 2 moments ago, it's a very big takeaway for some of our very young listeners who would, understand that being hyper focused, it has
Right.
to somewhere to do with gather your attention early in the morning, do some meditation, and then you are all energized up to start your day and make something big of the day. So that was very informative and very exciting for us to know.
That's great. Absolutely.
Being a young entrepreneur yourself, right? If you were to give advice to another young entrepreneur, and let's say somebody else wants to also establish a sustainable product like May, right? If somebody wants to, they have an idea and they want to go ahead and try it out, what would be that one advice that you would share with them based on the learnings and the hurdles that you faced? What would you tell them?
One thing that everybody else tells, which is in fact true, and it only takes a certain point of time in your life to realize that you really need to work hard, and you really need to make this life very meaningful, right? Ultimately, you want to leave a legacy. You want to be satisfied with your own self, that you completely lived up to your potential. And I think not living up to your potential could be someone's biggest regret. So my only advice
Mhm.
is start early and like hustle. Start as early as you can and enjoy life while you're doing it, because even that is a process. And
Correct.
just try to leave a legacy, try to do something meaningful, and try to do something that will impact a lot of other people, that will make the society a lot more better. So that's the advice, and I feel
That's a great.
that will also give oneself a lot of happiness. Is And that's my personal experience, trying to do something for the society, for the planet, to make this world a better place.
Great.
Nice. So while you said it with a smile, you kept it very light. There was a very deep message there, which was hard work is ultimate, right? Nothing beats hard work.
Absolutely.
There good luck also cannot beat hard work, right? And the hustle culture is extremely important, especially for younger entrepreneurs. And when I say younger entrepreneurs, I don't necessarily mean the age of the entrepreneur, but I'm talking about your life stage within entrepreneurship. When you're starting off, the hustle culture is real,
Mhm.
and it is really important for us to embrace that. And
I would like to
sorry,
interrupt you for a second.
go
There's
ahead.
this quote there's this saying which says that the more you sweat in your training, the less you bleed in the
Mhm.
battlefield. So I think
Correct.
Absolutely.
that's absolutely true in any
Very
case.
true. And what I was telling is, I was reading this book called The $1 Million Weekend. Okay. And I would recommend you to pick that up as well. And one of the things in that book is exactly what you just said, right? You've got to shamelessly go and ask for it. You have to go ahead, and that's the hustle culture. Nobody's going to come and give it to us in the plate. We'll have to go out and ask for it. And
Exactly.
miracles happen when you ask. So we've seen that ourselves when we reach out to people and say, "Hey, we would like to speak with you." And we see a lot of people say, "Yes, we would love to speak with you too." So I think, and we're hustling as well, like you're hustling. So we're also hustling. We're also in the same journey as you. We get it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And
So
it's also
Uh,
important to have a lot of self belief. And that comes once you start working, once you start hustling. It gives you a kind of a self belief or a self confidence. Then becomes shatterproof as you start growing and as you start doing more of these activities.
true, so true. What piece of advice you'll give to young entrepreneurs who are looking to make a mark in the sustainable product industry?
I would say that don't follow any trend. Do something that is really very different and something that adds a lot of meaning to everyone else's life and to the purpose you're trying to solve. So, yeah, be different and bring out something that has never been done before. That's the only way
Mhm.
to attract someone. That's one advice I would give.
All right, great, great.
Yeah.
that's You mentioned legacy in the previous answer, right? And you said you want to leave a legacy behind. I want to ask you what's ahead. What do you think uh, May is going to do in the next 5 to 10 years? So, what's that North Star that you're shooting at?
So there are a lot of things that May plans to achieve. Firstly, would be of course going into different product categories and then having stores, physical stores all over the world. That's one of our goals. And yeah, to be a leader in this category, definitely. That's one of our strong goals for the next 5 to 10 years. That's what we envision ourselves as, to have a lot of stores around the globe to make May a really popular and a well-known brand. We want to create a lot of brand love for this product. We want to do something very different, something very experiential, so that
Mhm.
people can come and experience the whole eco-friendly part to it right in the physical stores. So we want to make the stores very experiential. Yeah, these are some of the.
I would only say, may your dreams come true, right?
Yeah. Thanks for my words.
Thank
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's definitely the right vision and mission for an entrepreneur of your caliber. And hopefully on Valentine's Day in 2029, we're going to do a check with you, Ronit, and see where you are and remind you that, yes, 5 years ago we discussed this. And
Right.
I'm going to put a note to myself and I'm going to set up a calendar and say, okay, Ronit, we discussed this and let's talk about it. And maybe that's going to be another episode at that time where we talk about what your journey was over those 5 years. And then hopefully by then you're going to say, yes, we were able to check all these boxes, and now these are the new boxes that we are aiming for. I wish you good luck with that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Rahul. This has been wonderful and
No, we have
really
another
amazing.
section. Have another
We are
section.
not
Not
you
only,
go.
not only.
There's a very quick rapid fire round that we'll play, which is
Amit, I have a question before that. I have a question
go
before
ahead.
that. The one
Go
last
ahead.
one.
Sure.
One last one. I asked
Sure.
about colors on your
Right.
mugs, right? Specific colors. So can you
Mhm.
produce one with a red color?
Yes, we do have one with the red color
No.
as
So next time
well.
you should have one with a red color and a heart on it and inaugurate it on the 14th of February. You know that, and before that, it'll sell big time. And this is my piece of business consulting to you. I'll charge for it.
Definitely. I hope a lot of people all over the world fall in love with our brand May on this
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. So that's what I'm hoping
Okay.
for.
Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, but Rahul, you're not getting royalties for that. No. Excellent. So we'll jump to that rapid fire round. Some light questions. Hopefully you'll answer with all honesty. There is going to be some controversial questions. Okay, let's go for the first one. Which is your favorite Real Madrid player of all time?
Of all time. There are so many players, but has to be Ronaldo for sure. Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent.
In fact,
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
So I thought this is going to be the controversy, right? In case if you took any other names, then I'm going to ask you why not Ronaldo. Okay, perfect.
I'd like to say Vinicius Junior. He's an upcoming. I think
Mhm.
he's going to be the next big star. So
Mhm.
yeah, I really love his game.
Yeah, I think all the legends do retire one day. So there's always younger talent who's faster, leaner, and more aggressive in the game. So it's cool. Can you name one historical figure that you would love to discuss business with?
Then I would love to discuss business for Steve Jobs. I think because he's history right now. So definitely Steve Jobs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think that would be really cool. And I've seen a lot of Steve Jobs pictures with mugs in his hands. We would love to get a make-up into his hands if we could, of course. What was the last
Okay.
book that inspired you?
So it's the one that I'm currently reading. Actually, it's the 5 a.m. Club.
Do you
Yeah,
wake up at
I do
5
wake
every
up at
day?
5. Yeah, that's a part of
And
my new routine now. I wake up
And
at
go to the
5.
beach.
No, I don't go to the beach.
Okay.
But I do spend a lot of time with myself. I walk out, I meditate,
Okay.
and
Okay.
things like that.
that's cool. What is that one sustainability practice that you live by every day?
I travel light. I don't
Mhm.
really use my car to drive to places where I don't really need to. So I think you can start with something as simple as traveling light.
That's great. And considering it's Valentine's Day, we had to have a Bollywood question. Your favorite Bollywood movie?
I oh yeah, this one is it's a no-brainer. Shah Rukh Khan's movie Bacha. That's my
Oh my
all-time
God.
favorite Bollywood.
Okay. You might have been very a small kid when that was. You've
So
been watching
my
it as a kid, right?
I got that influence from my older brother because he's a big Shah Rukh Khan fan, and
Okay.
no other movie has made me laugh so much as Bacha has made me
Shah
laugh.
Rukh Khan and Twinkle Khanna, right?
Right.
I was not expecting that, Ronit. I was expecting you to tell me something else, but I can live with Baksha because I found that funny too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Baksha is more of my kind of days when I was in school. A movie, but
Right.
yeah, it's good to know that you love it too. So that is nice. We can crack some Baksha jokes next time when we meet.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's a classic movie.
It's a classic. That is true. Excellent.
And I would say
Mhm.
is Kabhi Ha Kabhi Na. Again, a Shah Rukh Khan.
Really?
He
Same
talks
time.
about a lot
Same
of
time.
failures and
Yeah.
Shah Rukh Khan had a really good personality in that movie, being a lover boy in Goa and iconic songs. And he was happy go lucky as well. So I really like that
I
movie
was
too.
I was in my college and I went to Goa after watching that movie. Anna Mere Pyar.
we had some really good music as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like a musical in some of the scenes.
Yes.
I think some of the songs are truly memorable. So that is also a good choice. I think you have a good taste in movies. So that's nice. Once again, I wanted to thank you for giving us your time and sharing your journey with the Indian community. I'm sure a lot of our viewers are going to find this very inspiring. And hopefully, they'll also reach out to you to find more about your products. And we would also like to tell our listeners and people who are watching this that Ronit is looking at investors. Please do look up on his products. So we'll put the link to your website on in the description of this video. But we would encourage people to reach out to Ronit and talk about how you can collaborate. So we don't want the world to conspire to get you to that 5-year plan and have stores all around the world, Ronit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you for having me on your show. And this has been
Thank you for
wonderful.
joining us.
Really. Yeah. No, this has been great. It's been a revelation for me as well. Because a lot of times you realize a lot of things when you answer, when you speak it out. Yeah. So this has been
Okay.
great. Thanks a lot for inviting me. And I really
Great.
look forward to meeting you guys in person.
Absolutely.
Because
Anytime
I'm,
you come to Delhi, please be my
yeah,
guest.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch up.